Sunday, the 24th of November, you are here. Very similar to here. This is what we'll be studying on today's episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. We've got a really busy day coming up in the altcoins as Bitcoin is going through its process right now. So I want to quickly go through this and just document where these breaks actually happened, right on these moments of the weekly RSI break. So as that broke those levels that we were watching for, we're making top formations after exhaustion wicks, all of it bearish. And after this big move up here on the 25th of October, I went from bear to bull, and through this week of period of time, didn't trade correctly. And so I didn't get into the short position I should have right there, and would have been great to just be in there and sitting still on it right now, because I think we're getting more downside yet. However, now I'm watching for the structure of the turnaround. What is it going to look like? Now, for certain, we had a big divergence for a long time before the market turned around last time. So we're probably in for some pain for a while here. Here, the 4-hour is at that's the 12-hour. That's at very extreme oversold conditions. Just now moving into these time frames as we see until this actual trend breaks, we're still taking more of the parabolic move down. This hasn't broken yet. So every time it comes up, it's just like getting room to come back down. We'll see what the Ichimoku says on the short-term time frames. So let's go from the 4-hour time frame to the 1-hour. Now I'm just observing this divergence and I'm not reacting to it. I'm not expecting that this is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that's going to turn around, but I will be watching for this nest to happen as it unfolds. That's what the daily routine is for. So again, just watching this sideways action. Let's jump into our next indicator, the on-balance volume, going to a more negative volume stance. So the selling is definitely in the house here. Selling, less selling, it was looking bullish to me. I was able to rationalize through this after the 1, 2, 3 top formation and our death cross that came in. Indeed, I was watching for the turnaround through this parallel channel down, blinded by one part of the analysis and not taking the broader analysis into the biggest picture. So anyway, I'm moving in here and I'm just watching the selling just to pay attention to how deep the selling was, and it still doesn't look like it's that we've hit the hardest of it yet. So selling, it's held steady, but selling all the way through here. This is an important observation I was making of the coin as I was looking at the buying pressure going on here before the move, all the buying pressure here before the move, and I was going, yeah, but it's going to turn around, right? It's going to turn around, it's going to turn around, and it didn't. All the way along, it was clear on the negative divergence here that was the main thing going on. So lessons. Here again is the weekly view, and we're looking at the MACD indicator. It crossed negative, really obvious in hindsight, these exhaustion wicks, the 1, 2, 3 top formation, the break of that top formation was already in the charts. So as I zoom into the daily, this was rationalization city as we were coming up here, and even through the middle here, I was still holding and not picking this correctly, and it's obvious. Like, this is something that belief just increased in my own trading plan here as this unfolded, and I didn't trade it correctly and documented every single step along the way. Now, of course, it's a good lesson. Now I'm moving into the 4-hour time frame. I gave this way too much weight all the way through here as the 4-hour was crossing positive on this potential turns around, and the 12-hour hadn't confirmed, so there's lesson number 2. In the 1-hour time frame, this is a bounce up, but it's a crossing, and it's looking like a top formation now that it's going to be more selling coming in, and it's going to be sharp. Now in the weekly view of the Ichimoku, I'll take the price out of here just because I'm really observing what is the blue and the red line doing compared to the cloud, because this is all starting to get into a much more bearish feel to it, a longer term bearish of 18 months to 2 years of sideways chop and bullshit, which means that Ichimoku cloud is going to become the God trading indicator here. This will set us the direction, and Ichimoku cloud is going to give us some of that mean reversion trading within this range as we start to find a bottom, settle out, and have a whole bunch of crap go on. So anyway, this is the best trend setups here, and we'll continue to look in as we go into the 12-hour time frame. The daily and the 12-hour is where my mix-up really happened here. I was putting too much weight on this Ichimoku setup here, that it was different than this one. Not enough just weight on the basic exponential moving averages. And here again is a lesson that goes right along with our MACD. So when the MACD is crossing to the positive and we get the Ichimoku cloud crossing to the positive, this is something to take very strong attention to, and that is what I'm going to finish up this report for at the end here about what's going on with the altcoins and the Ichimoku cloud there. Something that if I ignore, it's going to be the same thing as this. I'm going to look back and say, it was right there in front of me and I didn't take the correct action. A 4-hour time frame, same thing, still negative all the way along here. So we'll just observe, when does this cloud twist positive? Are we going to go sideways from here? Let's go into the 1-hour time frame. It's giving a twist to the positive, but it's also a sell signal in the Ichimoku downtrend. That is the classic sell signal into the cloud. Blue line crosses over red. Down we continue from here. Beautiful consolidation. 1, 2, 3 top formation. Sharp move. As I was saying a couple days ago, as this was setting up, it looked like a sharp move coming. Indeed, we did have a sharp move. Now it looks like more sharp is coming, and it does feel to me like we are back in November of last year. So here's the 15-minute that is starting to unfold that sell signal, where we can see it's crossing below these lines. We've got the negative, everything's setting up here as a sell signal. Let's go on to the Bollinger Bands. Now I've been talking about this a little bit too late, but the Bollinger Band, I don't know when I started to watch this closely, but this was come up to the mean line on the weekly and ducked below it on these exhaustion wicks, the 1, 2, 3 top right there. So this told us we're into a bearish stance right off the beginning here. And if I draw this back, we haven't been in a bearish stance like that for quite a while. And my own mistake, all the way up here, I was Mr. Moon Man reading everything as though we were coming into these consolidations as though we're above the midline of the weekly Bollinger Band. This was a big misreading right here. Just this long-term look that was it. 1, 2, 3 top formation broke that. No other question. Down to the bottom of the band, and I don't know how these bands work so well yet, but along the bottom of the band, I don't know when there's a buy signal, but somewhere along here there will be. And we'll continue watching. The 4-hour all the way along the band, just selling, 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 all the way along, up to the midline, selling, up to the midline, selling, not touching it. Let's go into the 1-hour. It's crossing, making the 1, 2, 3, and this is way too noisy for me. I'm just observing it, trying to take a look at the size of the neck and everything here in this. How wide is the channel? I don't know. We'll continue watching this. This is still the 1, 2, 3 top formation and a continuation of the downtrend. So what's happening with Bitcoin dominance? If Bitcoin dominance is rising as Bitcoin is falling, that means alts are falling faster than Bitcoin, and stablecoin is the only place to be. However, when we go through and we take a close look at what's going on with the altcoins, we're still in a very neutral stance so far. We do have a bunch of them starting to go into a near fail status, which means that they're coming down to break to new lows and continue lower than they were in the last several months, which would be very bearish for the entire sphere, and stablecoin is the only place to be if this keeps increasing. However, when we go through and we really dig into what's going on with these right now, there are some really amazing setups. And so I've put together a special report that digs into what we've been doing with the bull market watch over the last year. We've been collecting all the data on the bullishness and the bearishness of every single cryptocurrency on Binance and on Poloniex. And because of what's happened with Bitcoin dominance, it's been kind of a watershed moment. We've had this 1, 2, 3 top formation. A lot of coins moved up and made some serious gains, but a whole bunch of coins didn't do much of anything. They stayed flat. When we take a look at all of these coins that made the serious gains and pulled back a little bit, they are all now setting back up for some really great moves. The most amazing thing is to see what their Ichimoku cloud is setting up to do. So if I go back to the Ichimoku cloud and I go to Binance and grab just one example here out to the long-term time frame, we're starting to get some amazing Ichimoku cloud setups on the longer term time frames. And so I went through and I analyzed all of the coins on Binance, and we looked at the coins that are in a group of coins like this that made a bottom and then went sideways. And then the group of coins like Ethereum that made a bottom at the same time, but they rose above that bottom and consolidated. And I went through and I categorized the best coins and the most bullish coins according to the Ichimoku and according to their bull market watch performance over the last 12 weeks. So the coins that didn't perform well over the past 12 weeks, and even though Bitcoin dominance was dropping, I think those are the coins that we should be avoiding. They may not have strong projects, but those projects that did affect this, have this strong effect on Bitcoin dominance, those are the ones that are setting up now with beautiful Ichimoku cloud setups. They are making wonderful 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. They've come up and consolidated a bit. And if Bitcoin dominance is dropping from here, those select group of about 52 coins out of the 170 on Binance, those are the tickets right now. There's a whole whack of them that we should be avoiding, and there's a really clear section now that we should be grabbing. And I put this together into a $97 report, and it's only available until November 26th. So today and tomorrow this report is available, the 24th and the 25th of November. And on the 26th, when I get up in the morning, I'm taking down this report and it won't be available anymore. Just before I go, if you are already an alert subscriber, you already have this data. I keep you up to date on all of this stuff all the time. So you don't have to purchase this a second time. Now we'll zip back into Bitcoin. Looks like it's going to continue going down. And so it is important to not hold Bitcoin. If you're wondering which coins you should be getting into instead of holding your Bitcoin right now, I've got the report for you. Go over to Introtocryptos.ca, watch the intro video here, it'll explain more to you, and I'll see you on tomorrow's episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. We'll see where this has ended up. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your audience, and I hope you find these lessons that I'm learning helpful for your trading as well. Cheers, bye for now.